Okay, we're going to talk about scale drawings. And I'm going to explain this to you differently than Khan Academy would. So if you end up watching that video instead of mine, that's fine if that makes sense to you. I do think my way is going to be a little bit easier. Okay, so here's what I recommend. When working with scale drawings, what I like to do is set up a proportion. And I like the first part of the proportion to be the scale. So in this example, we have a scale on a blueprint drawing of a house that shows 10 centimeters represents 2 meters. So 10 centimeters represents 2 meters. Okay, I like the first part of the proportion to be the scale. Now, it's not that you have to put the centimeter and the meter in here, but sometimes I find that it's helpful. Okay, next, you're going to look at the question. And the question is either going to give me centimeters, which I would then put up here because you have to have the same thing in the top, or it's going to tell me a meter, which I would put in the bottom because you have to have the same thing in the bottom. In this question, it says what number of actual meters are represented by 18 centimeters. So the 18 centimeters is going to go up here at the top, and I'm going to put a variable in there at the bottom. And I'm going to solve this like a proportion. Now, sometimes when it comes to proportions, you can do the easy route, where you can say, oh, well, 10 times this easy number equals 18, and I can just do the same thing down here. But in this example, it's not going to work because 10 times 18 as an easy number doesn't really exist. So then you're going to do the second option, which is the cross multiplying. All right, now when I cross multiply on one diagonal, I have 10 times x, which I'm going to write like that. And on the other diagonal, I have 2 times 18, which is 36. And you guys can definitely use calculator when you're doing this, okay? And then you have a one-step algebra equation. And so I'm going to divide both sides by 10. Now here's where your calculator could come in handy, because if you punch that in, you're going to see that it's 3.6, or you could get the fractional answer on this as well. And then this would be meters. And so there would be our answer on this. How many meters would that be? It would be 3.6. All right, we're going to do 2 more examples, but the idea here again is we're going to set up a proportion where the first part is the scale. The second part, it comes from the question. You might be going up here or down here, it depends. And then you're going to solve the proportion. Okay, so let's clear that one and let's go to a second example. So some of the examples are going to be pictures. So it says that Jalen draws a hen with a scale of 2 units. So those units mean the squares in this picture. Represents 6 centimeters. And they said the hen is 16 units tall. So I'm going to put that in the top because I have units in the top. You have to have the same things in the top and then the same things in the bottom. Now here's an example of an easier proportion because I can see that 2 times 8 would give me 16. So actually all I have to do is go down here and times by 8, and I'm going to end up getting 48 centimeters for my answer. And that would be the actual height of this hen. Okay, so again, you put the scale here and part of the question comes here. So this is the easier way. If you can't do it this way, then you're going to have to cross multiply like example 1 was, okay? All right, last example. The scale on the map is 7 centimeters to 10 kilometers. So that colon is basically just expressing the scale. And again, that's going to be the first part of my proportion. If the distance between the 2 cities is 60 kilometers. All right, so now this has to go in the bottom because I have kilometers in the bottom on this problem. And so what's missing is how many centimeters apart are the 2 cities on the map. Again, the first thing I always look at is, hey, can I do the easy way on this? And I actually can. 10 times 6 is 60, so I can just come up here and times by 6. When you're doing proportions, remember that it's either going to be a multiplying or a dividing situation, and that's it, one or the other. And so in this example, we're going to get 42 centimeters for our answer. All right, and that is how to do scale drawings using a scale to figure out a question.